here in the playoffs, and we're just going to do first round for this video, and then we're going to do these videos round by round. So yeah, the playoffs are set. The Heat are, well, not really too surprising. Not too surprisingly a 1 seed, but the Heat did capture the 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. The Boston Celtics 2 seed, like I said, caught fire, at the beginning of this calendar year, just like Dallas did in the Western Conference. Milwaukee, the defending champs, are the 3 seed. 4 seed are the Philadelphia 76ers. 5 seed, we got the Toronto Raptors, who won like 27 games last year. Wasn't even a play-in team, and now they're in the playoffs again. So Nick Nurse, definitely in the conversation of Coach of the Year. I don't think he'll win it, but definitely got to mention him at least when it comes to that conversation. Also a guy trending on Twitter as the Lakers' next head coach. The Chicago Bulls, who were hot at the beginning of the season, fell all the way down to 6. Things just went all the way bad for them after the All-Star break. And all that DeRozan MVP talk and people really thinking this team were a championship team. Whatever. We'll get there. 7 seed Brooklyn Nets, as predicted for the play-in segment. 8 seed Atlanta Hawks, as predicted also for the play-in segment. And we're going to start and just go through these. We got the Heat versus the Hawks in the first round. I am going to take the Miami Heat to beat the Atlanta Hawks 4-2 in this series. I think no matter what happens, any of those teams, I don't see Brooklyn losing their play-in game and playing the Heat. But I think even if it's let's say the Hornets, is it the Hornets who will be? No, the Cavs. Even if it's the Cavs, I'm still taking the Heat to win the first round series. So no matter what, who wins the Hawks-Cavs game for the 8th spot, I got the Heat winning this series over the Hawks still 4-2. I think Trae Young could get 2 off of them. Playoffs is just a different season. That's why they call it the postseason. We got the 2-seeded Celtics versus the 7-seeded Nets. Now, this is a tough one. But like I said, this one can be a resemblance of Suns-Lakers last year. Boston ain't got no good reason to lose this series to Brooklyn. I don't know the status of Ben Simmons. The Warriors' Steph Curry is going to play a part in my West predictions as well in terms of the injuries. I don't know Ben Simmons' status at the time of recording. Apparently now he has a back issue or whatever. But I know KD is lethal and I know Kyrie is lethal. But Boston, who, Tatum's and Brown's 5th year in the league, Eastern Conference Finals first year, made it to the Eastern Conference Finals in the bubble as well. Second year, I think they got beat down by Milwaukee in the second round of the playoffs after blowing Milwaukee out in game 1. Last year, went 36-36, lost to these Brooklyn Nets from the same 7-seeded spot that Brooklyn are in now. Lost to the Brooklyn Nets in 5. Boston ain't got no reason to lose this series. I don't care that the Nets ain't been right all season long. I know they got 2 great players, but I'm taking Boston to win this series. They better not lose this series. And as you can tell by the way that I'm acting, I'm scared for the Celtics because I don't think I'm the only one either. But again, similar situation from Lakers Suns last year. I'm taking Boston to win this series in 6. You lose this series, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, we're going to have a video. We're going to have a conversation. You can't lose this series. Y'all are way grown up now. Way seasoned. So do not lose this series. I'm taking the Milwaukee Bucks to beat the Chicago Bulls. DeRozan had a great season, MVP caliber season, not the MVP though. But it's just the injuries. Lonzo's out. I think Caruso's back. I'm not too sure, but even if they were at full strength, they're not beating the Milwaukee Bucks. But I'll give DeRozan some respect and say that they get 2 games off the Bucks. I'll take the Bucks to win this series 4-2. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's a gentleman's sweep. If there's a sweep, then, I mean, we know who DeRozan is. But if he gets swept, it's going to be like Toronto all over again. So I'm going to take the Bucks to win in 6. 4 versus 5. Sixers versus Raptors. I know that, what's his name from the Sixers? Is it Maxey? Who is that from the Sixers that's not allowed to play in Canada because he's not a Jab? Matisse Thybulle. He's not allowed to play in Canada for the at least 3 games that this series will be in Canada. Even before I knew that, I said that, we got Harden and Embiid, who are new teammates to each other still, very fresh in the postseason. This was the franchise that took Joel Embiid out a few years ago on the Kawhi Leonard shot, the Raptors. But because their chemistry isn't all the way there yet, they'll build it as this series go on, Embiid and Harden. I'm going to take the Raptors to push the Sixers to a 7-game, but I'm going to take Philly to survive that 7-game and beat the Raptors in the first round. So, yeah, I got Philly over Toronto. I got Heat over Hawks. I got Celtics over Nets. And I got Bucks over Bulls. So now it's time to go to the Western Conference first round and give our predictions there. And we got the Suns, who captured the 1 seed. No surprise there. The Grizzlies, a bit of a surprise as the 2 seed. Warriors maintain that 3 seed. 4 seed Mavericks. 5 seed, we got the Jazz. 6 seed Nuggets. 7 seed, as predicted in the play-in, Clippers. 8 seed, as predicted in the play-in, Wolves, Timberwolves. So, here we go. We got the Suns versus the Clippers in the first round. This was the team the Suns beat in the Western Conference Finals a year ago to make it to the NBA Finals. Paul George is there, but the Suns are just too well-oiled, bench players who could possibly be starters. They went 32-9 at home, 32-9 on the road. Just this season in general has just been very consistent for Phoenix, and they have a lot of pressure on them for a team that dominated the West playoffs last year, went to the NBA Finals, won the first 2 games, and then lost 4 in a row. Of course they don't win in the first round. Of course. But the playoffs are different. We know how much of a cliche it is to say. The postseason is different because teams have to game plan for you now, are able to game plan for you now for at least 7 games. 4 games at the least, but 7 at the most. So you are going to maybe see the Clippers steal game 1 or one of those games in Phoenix. First 2 games in Phoenix. But I'm going to take the Suns to win this in 5. Clippers should not be hanging with y'all. As much as y'all did in the regular season, nobody should be hanging with y'all in the first round. But we got 2-seeded Grizzlies versus the 8-seeded Wolves. Even if the Pelicans beat the Timberwolves, I'm still taking the Grizzlies to win the first round. But young Memphis, y'all did a whole lot of that, Y'all backed it up too, but y'all got full of yourselves, and rightfully so. I mean, they won like 56 games, a franchise record. Even the Grindhouse Grizzlies didn't do that. The Grindhouse Grizzlies were never like a top 3 seed either. I think they were 5th at the most, if I'm not mistaken. Those Memphis Grizzlies from the past never reached 2 seed status. I think, maybe the ones that lost to the Warriors when the Warriors won their first championship. What seed were they? With Mike Conley when the Grizzlies went up 2-1. Maybe they did, but they didn't win 56 games like these Ja Grizzlies. And the Grizzlies went 20-5 without Morant, their best player. But I'm taking the young Wolves because the Grizzlies are young too. I'm taking the Wolves to push this to a 7-game series. I mean, the series is already 7 games, but I'm taking them to push the series to a game 7. And I'm taking the Grizzlies to win. But they are going to get a scare in the first round by the young Timberwolves. I'm telling you, I'm really feeling these Minnesota Timberwolves. I just hope this organization can continue to build around Anthony Edwards and Cat and get them that extra player they need to be an official Big 3 and make some noise in the West. Warriors versus Nuggets. Now, this is a tough one right here. At the time of recording, I don't know the status of Steph Curry. I don't know if he's going to be playing Saturday when Game 1 tips off at around 6 p.m. or whatever. I know it's the last game of the evening of the day that day. I don't know his status, and that's what makes it tough. The Nuggets, They may have the back-to-back MVP and Jokic on their team. They won't have Wiseman. I know a lot of people are raving about Klay Thompson, but we still have to see about Klay. We still have to see, and I don't know Steph's status. I don't know anything about that. And I'm so leaning towards Denver in this series. I'm leaning towards Denver so hard. Should I just pull the trigger and pick Denver? Warriors had this great start. Steph broke the three-point record, and they got Klay back for the first time since 2019. I think Draymond is back as well. But Steph's status. I'm going to take Denver on the upset. It'll go 7 with or without Steph. It'll go 7. Even if where is Jamal Murray? What, man? I haven't heard. I have to look into that. But even if Denver had Jamal Murray, I still think this would be a 7-game series, even if Steph didn't play. Because the Warriors are that good. But, I just don't have a good feeling. Jordan Poole is coming to his own. This is a tough pick for me. But because my heart is saying it, I'm going to follow my heart. And I'm going to pick the Denver Nuggets. I never had the Warriors win the championship to begin with. If they do win this series, I'll just have to eat crow. But I'm taking Denver to win this series in 7 and getting the Warriors out of the playoffs early so we can have our Steph was injured reason for why the Warriors didn't win the championship this year. I'm going to get off this series, but I'm taking Denver. Mavericks versus Jazz. The Mavericks drew the easiest first round top seed in the playoffs. Utah, to me, I'm taking Mavericks to win this series in 5. This is going to be the series where in the offseason, Mitchell is going to come out, how he's unhappy with the franchise direction, how he and Rudy Gobert are not really getting along, and you're just going to hear all this stuff he's going to want out. And this is going to be the series that push him over the edge. I believe the odd makers have Utah favored to win this series. To win, not the series. I don't know about the series. But I think last time I checked, they had Utah favored to win game 1. And Luka did, I think, sprain his calf. But I think he'll be fine. I'm taking Mavericks to win this series against Jazz in 5 games. I think it'll be a gentleman's sweep. Luka will finally get out of the first round. This is the matchup the Mavericks wanted. Even if they would have drawn the Warriors in the first round, they would have beaten the Warriors too. But this is the matchup you wanted because Utah, as good as they are, hey, let's be honest, they're just a playoff team. Nothing more, nothing less. Last year was the year, the best chance. They just like Gonzaga of college basketball. Last year was Gonzaga's best chance to win a championship. And they were there. The Jazz, that was their best chance to at least get there. They won the first 2 games of the series. Kawhi went out and they lost 4 straight games. That was their best chance. There's nothing else about Utah. They're like what Portland was. They're just a playoff team. That's just the truth. I know it's not nice to say, whatever, but they're just a playoff team. But yeah, those are my predictions. Let me know what you guys think. Be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe. So if my predictions do play out the way that I say that they will in the first round, I think the second round matchup in the East will be Heat versus Sixers, Celtics versus Bucks. In the West, we got Suns versus Mavericks. And we got Grizzlies versus Warriors. I'm sorry, Grizzlies. See, we got Grizzlies versus Nuggets if it happens. See, I don't know about that Warrior. Oh, goodness. We're going to see what happens, man. I don't know. This is a tough one right here. This is a tough one. But be sure to tell me what you guys think. I know a lot of people are going to come at me for picking the Warriors to lose. And if they win, I'm going to have to hear it. But, we'll see. Appreciate you guys. Peace.